All right, this is our tweet of the night. It comes from GMC Sierra. Codify says the only two Major League pitchers since 2019 to have these numbers. You're looking at two of them, Paul Skeens and Justin Verlander. Every time you're in that company, that's pretty good stuff there. All right, let's give an update, Chris, on the National League Rookie of the Year. Has Skeens now moved above Jackson Merrill? Because there was a time that I thought Merrill had, maybe moved ahead of him, because Skeens had a couple of outings where he wasn't what you would have expected based on his standard, what we saw this year. But where is it right now in your mind?
I mean, I think Paul Skeens should be the National League Rookie of the Year, and since he's going to finish top two, it's going to be him and it's going to be Merrill in some order, which then leaves the Pirates out in the cold. He accrues the year of service time. They don't get a draft pick in compensation because they didn't bring him up early enough like they would have had, say, Jared Jones won NL Rookie of the Year, then they'd be getting one. You might as well root for him to win it, right? Better to win it than finish second and have all the negative stuff that comes with that from a team standpoint. I don't know. Merrill's been really good. You know that for people who vote on these awards, and I understand why, a guy putting up numbers for a team that is very much going to go to the playoffs looks a little different than a guy pitching out the string for a team that's playing out the string. But Paul Skeens has been the best rookie in baseball, in my opinion, regardless of what the numbers say. He's been electrifying. He's been unhittable for long stretches. He should win the award, but I don't think he will.
And as far as Cy Young, I mean, if he had had the opportunity to pitch earlier in the year, based on what we've seen, he'd be right there. Chris Sale seems to be the betting favorite, but is it anyone besides Sale and him, or who else would you put it? I guess Zach Wheeler's in that conversation.
Again, I'll answer that question by saying Sale's probably going to win it because there's just a lack of amount of innings and workload for Skeens, especially him not pitching enough huge innings down the stretch. Again, if they were going to stretch him out a little bit and they were in the thick of a playoff race, different story. Would you really say anybody in baseball has been better than Paul Skeens in balance this year? Because I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't either,
I just don't. Well, maybe there's a couple guys in the AL that you could say. Skubal for Detroit has been really good. He's been really great. But, I mean, in the NL, I just don't think there is a better pitcher than Paul Skeens. And I really hope we get to start seeing that in earnest for 190-plus innings starting next year.
Stephen S. on Twitter wants to know how much is Andrew McCutchen going to want from the Pirates if he decides to stay. I do think he's worthy of a raise. I think we broached this topic the other night. But Stephen S. on Twitter, I would tell you that I think it's up to him, and I think if he says he wants $7 million, there should be no hesitation to give it to him.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with that. If he wants a raise after what he did this year, being one of their steadiest offensive producers after a bad first month, they absolutely should give it to him. I think that's actually one where Bob Nutting would probably step in if for some reason his baseball ops people were balking at the idea, and he would actually, this is one of the rare situations I think the owner would say, give the guy the extra money if it's a couple $1 million. I feel that that's necessary and warranted and worth it as far as goodwill to the public and still putting butts in the seats, because there are people that happily go to watch Andrew McCutchen play still because of what he means to this franchise. So I just think he'll be a Pirate next year if he wants to play baseball, which he seems to want to do beyond 2024. So that means I think he's wearing black and gold again.
Blairsville is our first destination tonight. We're going to go out to John, who joins us right here. Hello, John. How are you?
Good. How are you tonight? I was walking the dog this morning thinking about the Pirates season, and I'd like to see the Pirates rest Jones, Keller, and Skeens and figure out a way to get them a start, one more start each before they play the Yankees, so the fans can see them pitch back to back to back and treat that series like a playoff series, because the Yankees are still battling Baltimore, and fans will get a treat to see what it would be like if it was a 3-game series.
Thanks, John, for reminding me that series is going to be right at the end of the year. That's something you normally don't see, Chris. And the Pirates could actually have a role in this kind of thing.
I mean, the way Bailey Falter pitched today, maybe they can toss old Bailey Falter in there. That actually, I kind of like that idea. It's a little bit, it's kind of baseball romanticism, but why not? Why don't you set it up so it goes Keller, Jones, Skeens to end the year? Something like that. I mean, I'm sure they could actually tweak the rotation if they really wanted to fall that way. Why not?
Yeah.
Give the people what they want. Give the people a bunch of flamethrowers. Let them believe that maybe this could be a World Series matchup in the next 2 to 3 years.
All right, let's go to Chuck in Uniontown. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. Let's go, Chuck. What's up?
Thanks, fellas. Yeah, I heard somebody say that Terry Francona might have been interested in managing the Pirates, but he wasn't going to be Baltimore's yes man. That's exactly what what the Pirates need now is what happened to the Steelers in 1969. Different sport. You need someone like Chuck Noll to come in there, and either you're going to do it my way, or I'm not going to manage this business of bringing.
Well, Chuck, I think though that like the idea that he would be Bob Nutting's yes man. I mean, for all of Nutting's faults, for lack of a better word, the fact that I wish he says that he's very committed to winning, and I wish he would show it more with how much money this team spends on the big league club. He does not strike me, and has never struck me, as an owner who is meddling day to day with how the manager operates the team. This isn't George Steinbrenner and Billy Martin here. I think Terry Francona's health is a big factor in why he might not want another managerial job. But I don't think it would have anything to do with the idea that the manager would be finger-wagging at him and telling him what to do. Not at all.
Gary in Bethel Park, you're up right now on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
I just want to give Shelton a little kudos today. He got rid of Bednar when he was ready to lose that game again. And on your previous point, they're not anyway. Not even will give him McCutcheon any more money because he's going to get it back in ticket sales. Otherwise, he wouldn't give him anything.
Yes or no? I mean, he has 20 home runs. He's been their best and he's got great plate awareness. I have no problem
Those
with him
two seem to have a special relationship, too,
Yeah,
relative to like Nutting's typical relationship with players. Or I think most owners just kind of, it's, hey, you write the checks, I cash them, and vice versa. I really do think that based on the story that McCutcheon, I think, has even told about how this reunion came to be before last year, that he and Bob Nutting have a personal relationship that is a lot chummier, a lot more kind of one-on-one and not like talking through intermediaries than you would normally expect in this situation.
And as far as your first point about David Bednar, now they're trying to get him, work with him, get him back. But today, I mean, he gave up. He was in a position to lose the game, actually. They had to bring in Jalen Beeks to get it out. That's going to be one of the more intriguing off seasons with regard to him and, where he ends up next year. I would hope he gets back to where he was last year or at stretches of this year. But, man, it's not even about velocity, Chris. It looks like he's the location is a struggle with him.
His fastball tops out at maybe 100. He can reach triple digits every once in a while, but he sits between 97, 98, sometimes 99. I've said this before. If he's not putting that pitch, that fastball, where he wants it to be, on the edges, on the black, he's very hittable. That's just the reality of being a pitcher anymore, is that guys can hit stuff that's over the plate and hit it hard when it's 97, 98. And then it makes all of his secondary offerings a lot less difficult to deal with. If you can sit on the fastball, you can just try to spoil curveballs or whatever else he might throw and just wait for him to put one in the zone because you can turn on it.
You think Kyle Nicholas has the stuff of a closer? He's been wild last night. He was over there and wild. I like his stuff, but I mean, he's better. He's another guy who has to harness it better and not walk as many guys as he does.
He has the stuff for sure, and yeah, that's kind of always the question with these guys. That was even the question with Chapman early in his career with the Reds. Would he harness the walks? Remember, they tried to make him a starter, and he was kind of a disaster in that role. Then they just said, why don't you empty the tank basically every 2 to 3 days in a row, then take a day off, and the control got better. You have some wiggle room when you can throw 102, 103, but the rest of the guys in this bullpen can't do that. And so they need to locate their stuff. It's just, by the way, while we're on the subject of their bullpen, Bob, very briefly, extraordinarily frustrating answer from Ben Cherington today when he was asked why the bullpen has been so bad, like to give an explanation. And I hope I speak for a lot of Pirates fans when I say I want to hear a lot more out of the general manager when he's answering that question than, well, our guys got to be better. We know it's a problem. We got to figure it out. Whoop-de-doo. I could hear that from anybody. Kirk and Manor could call in and say that today, and it would have the exact same meaning as it does when it comes from the general manager. No offense, Kirk. Love to hear you call.
Ryan Zedek on Twitter before we go to break says the fact that both Cherington and Shelton could be back next year shows that this isn't a serious organization. We'll take a break, come back with more right here. Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call 7 nights a week.